Good afternoon. I know there are a lot of questions about the investigation involving the Attorney General, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to the Secretary of Public Safety, Craig Price, to fill you in on some details.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor Noem, for the opportunity to address the group today. I'm here to provide a few updates as far as the investigation that we're working on. First, the medical examination of Mr. Joseph Beaver has been conducted by in Ramsey County, Minnesota. That was conducted yesterday. Second, and as the governor stated, the South Dakota Highway Patrol is leading this investigation. The South Dakota Highway Patrol is a part of the Department of Public Safety. The interviews of the Attorney General for the state of South Dakota and other witnesses are being conducted and have been conducted by North Dakota's Bureau of Criminal Investigation, along with some assistance from troopers of the South Dakota Highway Patrol. Third, we're in consultation with a third-party out-of-state crash reconstruction expert to assist us in this matter. The governor has instructed the Department of Public Safety and me to release the investigative report as soon as it is complete. Now, I understand that there are a lot of questions surrounding this particular investigation. I also understand there's a lot of questions that I have. There's also a lot of questions that we cannot release because it is an investigation. But with that, I would open it up to if there's any questions that I might be able to answer here today.
This is Stephen Groves from the AP.
Yes, sir.
Will you be releasing any 911 call transcripts or accident reports or video, body camera or dash cam video as part of the release with the investigation?
That's a very good question. So the 911 phone call, other pieces of the investigation that are being completed and gathered will be released at the appropriate time.
Austin Goss, KSFY, KDLT. Will you guys be releasing any details from the medical examination of Mr. Beaver?
Thank you for the question. So medical examinations, in my experience, take time to complete and to get the report gathered. And we're continually working with the Hyde County State's Attorney, who was elected in Hyde County, to work through the process of this investigation and the follow-up that comes from it.
This is Ariel with the Journal. I have a question for Governor Noem.
Sure, go ahead.
Hi, this is Ariel. My question is do you think that Ravnsborg, his spokesperson says that he's still working. Do you think that he should be placed on, paid leave during the investigation, and why or why not? And would you be the one to order that?
That has not been an issue that's been addressed yet.
Okay. Because there's a criminal agency involved, the BCI from North Dakota. So I guess my question is, how do you make the decision to not ask him to go on leave during a, potential criminal investigation?
To be clear, the Attorney General's office and South Dakota's DCI, a Department of Criminal Investigation, is not involved in this incident.
Right, but BCI. Sorry, my overall question is why are you not asking him to take a paid leave during the investigation?
Ma'am, this is Craig Price again, and I can comment in regards to the criminal investigation. This is a traffic fatality crash investigation that we've initiated after we were asked to come in and help. And one thing that we do in these types of incidents where there's a lot of work that needs to be done, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, need to be run down, interviews need to be completed, medical examinations need to take place, evidence needs to be looked at and gathered if it exists. This is a case that we would typically ask our South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation to assist us with. And of course, since they work for the Attorney General, we thought that it was in the best interest to ask an independent, out-of-state investigative agency that has a ton of credibility in the North Dakota Bureau of Criminal Investigation to assist us with this process. So that's what we followed, and we're confident in that decision.
This is Stephen Groves with AP again.
Yes, sir.
Can you release details on the medical examination of the person who was killed, and also tell me why it was conducted in Minnesota?
That's a good question. I can comment as to why it was conducted in Minnesota. It's because the pathologist in South Dakota is out of state and unavailable.
Okay, can you release any findings from that medical examination in terms of toxicology or cause of death or any other details?
No, sir, there's none of that information available to be released at this time.
Hi, Megan, we're at News Center 1.
Yes, ma'am.
Do any of the investigators, either from North Dakota, South Dakota, have any kind of working relationship prior to this incident with the Attorney General?
Thank you for the question. Of course, we work for the South Dakota Highway Patrol and the Department of Public Safety. It would be unfair to say that we don't work with other law enforcement agencies in our state. Yes, we do. Are there consultations or working relationships between states? Yes, there is. I'm very involved in a nationwide organization called the International Association of Chiefs of Police. I work with police executives and police officers all over the country.
This is Mark with the Black Hills Pioneer.
Yes, sir.
What is the third-party organization you guys are working with, and approximately how far apart were the two different vehicles, both the Attorney General's as well as the deceased?
Yeah, it's a good question. I left my notes with the name of the third party in the other office. It's an individual out of Wyoming, which in his company, which we can send at a later time. Any details specific to the crash investigation, I can't release those right now.
What's the time frame on the release of information on this investigation? Are we thinking weeks, months, or still unknown?
That's a very good question, too. Certainly, we don't have a specific time frame that we shoot for. We shoot to do a good, complete, and thorough investigation for everybody involved. We're going to put all hands on deck, which we've been, so that we can work through this efficiently and effectively as possible and have the results at the end that we can work through.
This is Ariel again. A question for Secretary Price.
Yes, ma'am.
So I understand that this is, at this point, just an investigation. But my question is, if you decide that you need to hand this over to a prosecutor to look at, for them to make a decision, would it be going to the Hyde County State's Attorney's Office instead where the crash went, or would it be going to somewhere else?
Yeah, good question. As a normal procedures, when there is an incident that is investigated and happens in any particular county, we work with that particular county attorney that's elected by the people of that county, which in this case would be Hyde County.
And have you looked into, will you be checking, or have you already checked to make sure there's no conflicts between that state's attorney and the AG in terms of friendship or past donations or endorsements?
Yeah, I think as far as that goes, I don't know. I would certainly expect that the state's attorney in that county would take those decisions that come across her desk when they come to her table.
Thank you.
Question for
Police
Governor
Trooper,
Noem.
SDPB.
Yes, sir, SDPB.
Thank you. I was just wondering if you might be able to comment real quick, and I know you're bringing in some out-of-state organizations, but if you could comment real quick on maybe concerns that some people might have about a perception of bias and steps taken to overcome that as state law enforcement investigates basically our top cop official.
Yeah, I think it's something that we take very seriously. We do objective work, and I think that the process we're following, or I'm confident the process we're following, we're getting the right people at the right places to do the right job, and I have a ton of confidence in the work that they're doing.
Question for Governor Noem. Can you talk about, obviously he's not working on this investigation, but what is the AG's role and his day-to-day duties look like right now?
I can't speak to that right now at this point in time, but I do want everybody to know that there is a reason that we brought in BCI from North Dakota. It is to have that accountability and an outside organization involved in the investigation, and also why we are in consultation with a third-party crash investigative company that will come in and add that kind of accountability that I wanted in this exact situation. So that is why, because of this situation, we offer every situation the same standard of investigative procedures that we would any other person, but we are adding an extra level of transparency and accountability that I think is necessary in this case.
Were either of you made aware of the Attorney General's statement prior to its release last night?
I can't speak to that. Okay,
Governor,
thanks so much.
I'm sorry, Governor Noem?
Yes, go ahead.
So you talked about accountability. With that, I'm wondering, is it possible to get a earlier release of the 911 calls, crash report, initial call log from the sheriff, or any camera footage from police who were at the scene or the sheriff?
We want to have a completed investigation that has integrity, that has been fair, and follow a due process to how we are conducting our every activity as in regards to this accident and this investigation. So that is all items that at the appropriate time, when deemed appropriate, that we will be releasing.
Governor?
I'm going to go to Bob in the room, and then Bob's going to be the final question.
Okay. For each of you, just what was your reaction when you got the calls or however you were notified on Sunday that this had happened?
I can't speak to that, Bob. Tragic situation.
Great.
Thank you, everybody.